Hello and welcome to Steve's Vintage Model Builds and part two of my little painting show, how to paint figures. Okay, so yeah, I've been working on the walker, and this is the tank commander from the walker, and we're going to put his arm on after. That'll be part of what we do today. And also I've got, I've been working on the wheels and stuff. So I got all these painted up with olive drab, and these wheels they need to have rubber. They need to look like rubber. So for that, I am going to use Tamiya acrylic XF85 rubber black. So I'm going to do that. Now, painting inside these wheels can be a bit of a challenge. Well, that's the other thing. I always make sure I have lots of paper towel handy. Okay, this was olive drab, so it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be that clean. Now, I do it freehand, but for some things, you might want to be really, really extra careful about it. And I found one of these things can be handy. You just find the circumference of whatever circle you want, and you put it on top. Like, for example, let me see if I can even try one here. Turn it around. There. Okay, so you put that on there. Can you see that? Put that on there. It lines up perfectly, so that you can paint the rims there without painting the part that's supposed to be rubber. Doesn't cost much. Okay, and when the paint pot's open, I always put it out of the way of elbows or cats or whatever. And I'm going to go in here, and I chose this brush. Well, you'll see in a minute. Okay, with this size brush, when I do this, and I just go around, it goes right up to where I want it on the rim. Okay. There we go. Okay. I give that about a 97%. There. And for these, I mean, if you want to just leave it, that's fine, but they're going to get weathered up anyways. So, okay, so that goes aside. And I use this to put the thinner in. I use Tamiya paint here, and so I always recommend that you use the same thinner as the manufacturer of the paint you're using, if they have one. Tamiya acrylic, get the Tamiya acrylic thinner, etc., etc. We're going to need that again in a bit. If it's Vallejo, they have their own brand, and but others, they may just recommend a brand brand of thinner. Or, of course, out in the community, you know, you can always put a question out there or look it up. You know, out in the community, they'll tell you what the best thinner is or isn't. Okay. Okay, so I just, one of those, you know, those bamboo skewer stick things, stick it on the end there. And there's a couple ways you can do it. If you're manually dexterous, you can get the brush paint up on your brush, and you can you can twirl it. I can't do that, so I'm going to do it this way. Oh, it's not sticking. Rats. Get in there. Yeah. And I actually want that little rim there. See the gray rim? I want that to stay. So this is going pretty good so far. There we go. And likewise, some people might want to do something with the very inside. I guess you're welcome to do that if you want. But you know, really, unless you're doing your model for competition judging, there's no reason to do that. But if you want to, it's your model. Okay. And again, same for on the inside. I didn't even bother to prime it really on the inside, just on the one side. You know, by the time the tracks are on, nobody's going to see this anyway. So, the middle part there. Okay, go around. Okay, so there it is, and you can kind of see how that it looks more like tire than the regular flat black. So, anyways, I just wanted to show you that, and then you make sure you got the pointy end of your stick, and that goes in your little whatever you call that rack thing. There we go, and cap goes back on right away. Secure it down nice and tight. These are mostly dry. Do those later this evening or whenever. There we go. Okay, now on to the star of the show. Okay, so here we go. We've got our friend here, Commander Cody. Actually, I don't like the name Cody, so I won't call him that. So, should we call him Brad? Okay, all right. So, yeah, so we've got him here, and we got him primed up, and we're going to finish him off mostly here today. So we want to scrape off most of this primer as much as you can. Try not to gouge the surface, just scrape the primer off. another reason I use this cement. It bonds pretty well through. Yeah. Okay. So, what you gonna do? Yeah, this will do. Okay, so yeah, after a sip of tea, you see that's easy just to break off, or if you have to, you can cut it off. We'll even this out as well. Okay, so normally I'd start at the top and work my way down, but because we got this arm situation going on, I'm gonna do his coveralls first. Now, here's the thing. Okay, you know, this is what, from a 1973 or whatever. This is the way Tamiya did it, and it's really a great thing that kits like this are still available, that they still make them available. So in any case, their paint instructions, yeah. So we've got olive drab for the helmet. They don't say anything about the goggles. They say dark green for the coveralls, matte black for the binoculars, and matte brown for the boots, and also the earpieces for the headphones. Those should be black, I believe. So we'll deal with that. So the first thing I'm going to do then is I'm going to I went and looked online. I looked online at a whole bunch of different uniforms. There's some are more, some have like a brown, a lighter colored tan kind of jacket up top, and then lower down it's a darker brown trousers. As I said, this looks like the coveralls. They were kind of a khaki-ish, brownish kind of thing. So I've got Vallejo. I've got Vallejo khaki. And, oh, here's another tip. Whether it's the Tamiya paint pots or these, I picked up a box of these little tiny ball bearings, and you put 3 of them in, and you know, it works like a rattle can. Helps your stuff shake up. Also, another tip: you can pick these up at the dollar store, whatever they cost, and so. Anyways, they weren't quite khaki, and they weren't quite olive drab, and well, they weren't olive drab, but they weren't quite brown either. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do a little mix, and you don't need a lot. You can always remix. So that's about, you know, 4 drops, whatever, and then. And again, you want to use the same kind of paints. Like, for example, you know, I wouldn't, other people might, but I wouldn't mix the water-based acrylic with the alcohol-based acrylic of Tamiya. So yeah, try and use the same brand to make them compatible. Okay, and then I'm about, you know, one good drop of that. And then we'll mix it up. And remember always too that it's going to look darker once it's dried. And I'm thinking that's about what I'm looking for. And I'm just going to start. See, I don't need this right now. I'll do it this way. And generally you want to work with gravity. Start at the top and work your way down. Draw the paint down from the top. And you want, you want to watch out for little air bubbles that might be hanging out. And it never hurts to, after you've gone over one spot, to go back a couple minutes later. You don't want to leave it too long, you'll get streaks. And generally your strokes want to be with the contour of the whatever that's on the base. Just going to do it all in this color now. Oh, and I'm going to use flat earth for the holster and the boots. Some people in our hobby, they want perfectly accurate, whether it's the model kit itself or the figure. I can't remember who the modeler was, but I was watching it one time, and he said it might have been I believe it was in the model train days actually, and he said it's a representation of reality. So that always stuck in my mind, and yeah, so as long as it looks, yeah, and like I said, I tried to find it online, but I couldn't, so I don't know what the deal was there. And of course, to me, it didn't provide a color picture. And there's lots of painted up figures online too, but again, that's what someone else has done. So. And you can always expect to, go back and have to do a little bit of touch up one way or another. Okay, so there he is, as far as that goes. And now, put him back. I'm going to leave him dry for a couple minutes. Get this. Can you see the detail there? The folds in the sleeve and all that kind of stuff. You know, and I mean, this Walker kit, it's not for, what shall I say? Yeah, you know, it's, and many of the Tamiya kits of this era, as I said in the previous video, a lot of people, in a not very complimentary way, call them shake and bake kits. You just take the parts off the sprues, put them in the box, shake it up, and pour out a completed kit. So, you know, they're certainly not for the kind of modeler who goes for, you know, the hundreds of parts Meng or whatever. But again, you know, it's what's great about our hobby is that there's all those different levels and ways to enjoy it. Okay, so this was water-based acrylic, so it goes in the glass with the water. Oh, and I should also say, just like with your open paint pots, you should keep these out of the way so that they're not likely to be excuse me, not likely to be Now, we're going to go in with the dark earth, and for the fine lines, there's a few things you can use. You can use the end of an X-Acto knife blade. I always save the old ones. They're good for, you know, if you have to, you know, melt some tracks together or whatever. Or for an application like this, you can use a toothpick. You can use a pin or a nail. If you're going to use a pin or a nail, I would suggest you prime it. Otherwise, you know, it'll just fall right off the metal. So, yeah. Okay, so we're not going to need that. Okay. So we've got Model Color Flat Earth. And for this, I'm going to use a toothpick that I sharpened the end off, or I cut it on a bias. That's what they call it. It's a little soon for this, but an area that'll need to be touched up. And you can certainly do this with a brush. I'm just kind of lazy. I'm going to brush the boots, so. Aye. Back in the bin. Sorry. There we go. Okay, and the other thing is that we're not going to see this part unless I decide to put them outside of the tank. But we could do either or. As part of the kit, they give you little plastic stands. So, and before you say little plastic stands, I did this for the, I think it was the Panzer one. I did this guy, and he had a stand. And I just put a bit of, sand stuff down. And I'm really happy with the way he turned out. And there's the model itself, and it sits on the shelf like that. So yeah, just add that a little bit. Or you can embed it into a diorama if that's what you're doing, into the styrofoam. You just cut it out. I showed this before too. I got these accessories from Italeri. 2 tents, a fire pit, and this well, desert well. And I'm pretty happy with the way that painted up. Since I'm showing off, we've seen this before. This is my Airfix Vintage Classic. 1/76 scale. Tractor and 88mm gun. Came with 4 figures. I lost one. I don't know what happened. I guess maybe he just wandered off into the desert, as they were to do sometimes. Here's the tent, and there were 2 that came in the little kit, and the fire pit. So yeah, that built up into a real nice little diorama. That was the second diorama after I did the Spitfire. Yeah. Okay, so back to Buddy here. Is that what we should call him, Buddy? I don't know. Anyways. Okay, so we've got that, and oh, there's a little bit more strap. There we go. I was afraid I was missing a little bit. I wiped that a little too clean. And yeah, to each their own. I like the Vallejo paints, both the Model Air. There's also Panzer Aces. But I know, there's plenty of others out there, and some very high quality. Pro Scale is good if you're over there in the UK. Okay, so I'm good with that now. It goes back. Okay, now got a bit of time. What are we doing? Oh yeah. And with this cement, another reason why I like it and use it is it doesn't dry too quickly. So, and as a matter of fact, you should leave it for a moment or two before you try and bring the parts together. Okay, there we go. Okay, that didn't work out very well, did it? Use your fingers, Kev. Okay, what do you think, guys? Arm look okay? There we go. Okay, and so I'm just painting up the helmet here, and I'm going to show a little technique here it's called dry brushing. What you do is you wet the brush, and then you get a piece of paper towel or newspaper, and you take off almost all of the paint, and then you can kind of dabble it on. And it'll make it look like you know, the uniform is soiled, and yeah, that's a bit much, but okay. And so then that gives you a bit of relief there, as far as you get to see the contrast and the contours better. And I'll probably be putting what do you call it, dark panel liner on it as well. So we got that. Now we're going to do the fleshy bits. And this is, whoops, rats. I hate it when that happens. This is the Vallejo medium flesh. They might have a darker one, I don't know. But again, as I showed you there, you can mix your own. Got a brand new brush here with a beautiful point. Okay, so yeah, here we go. And again, you don't want too much paint, then you won't be able to see the detail. And the binoculars are going to be black, so we do the lighter part first. Get the point in there, so you can, you know, really show up the contours. There you go. Yeah, there it is so far. Got a little hairy bit out of there. There. Coming coming up pretty nice. Missed a spot there. Let's use some of that. Yeah. There we go. Okay, now into the water that goes. Oh, I hate to see it get wasted like that. Okay. Now, go to the black. Don't need this, so I'll cap it up. Hear that? That's all that good stuff getting shook up. Okay. So the belt is supposed to be black. Okay. Now, we're really into the home stretch here, but I do need a bit more of this. Okay, there we go. A few little touch-ups to do. And I'm going to do his goggles in Vallejo Gunmetal Gray, and we'll see how that looks. Could be worse. See what it looks like when it's dry. Oops. Bit of the flesh. Okay. And there he is. Mostly. Oh, one other little thing if you want to. Why we call it detailing instead of painting sometimes. Okay. And we get 1, 2. There you go. The binoculars look like glass now. Or you could use Tamiya Clear XF86. I'm probably going to put a bit of that on the goggles. So there we go. He's not 100% finished. I'm still going to put the panel liner on and to bring out some of the contours and stuff, and a couple of final touch-ups. But we'll see the final result shortly when I do an update on the walker. So, but that's where he is as far as it goes now. And as you can see, it didn't take that long, and I think he looks pretty good. And I don't think I'm going to go in. You can take the end of the X-Acto knife blade, just barely dip it in just a bit of black, paint, and just poke the eyes in there. But for this purpose, I'm not going to bother to do that. The eyes are the hardest thing, and to be honest with you, I think it's more of a thing in the larger scales. The 1/16 figures and things like that, where you want them to look absolutely perfect. So yeah, there he is, and hope you've enjoyed it as far as it's gone. And as I said, we'll see the final complete finished. I can't put the panel liner on now because the paint has to be completely dried. So we'll let that cure up. Excuse me. And later on, I'm going to work on the wheels. And so that's it for today's video. Just about an hour. Thanks for spending the time with me. I really appreciate it. Thanks to all my subscribers. And I should have said at the beginning, welcome to everyone. And I appreciate everybody's stopping in. And hope you've learned something. And even if you haven't learned something, I hope you've enjoyed it. So thanks again, and we'll be back with more on the walker, and seeing Buddy there when he's all fixed up and done. And the other thing too is you have to remember that it doesn't have to be perfect. I mean, these guys were in the middle of a war. I mean, they had dirt all over them, and their uniforms weren't pristine. There were rips and tears and all sorts of stuff. So you can use weathering to your advantage in that way to cover up some mistakes. Anyways, so thanks again, and we'll be talking to you soon. Bye now.